Hey, this is chapter 5. I'm going to talk to you about pre loops and post loops. We're going to talk about the while loops, the for loops. The do while loops is the only post loop in this chapter with it. And then we're going to talk about the for loops with this thing. And I'm going to talk to you about the increment and decrement of the memory with it. So it's important for you to understand how it works with the decrement and how the running totals work with it. And then we get into the nested loops, and we're going to decide which loop is going to be used with as well. Of course, the next section is going to be talking about is the file input, output, reading in a file and writing out to a file with it as well. All right, I'm going to start with you in the concept of the increment and decrement. If you this problem that they have is only increment decrement is really the it's very superficial. Of course, the one that they have posted on the in your book on page code list 5-1 on page 276 is pretty pretty straightforward. It's both those problems are post increment as well. I have another problem I want to do with you, to work with you. I kind of pre-made this problem already to save some time in the typing with it. So let's say I declare A is 1, B is 2, and then I also have a couple of other variables or ints in this thing. So these are the commands that I want it to do, and also what is inside of each one of these when we actually come down and take a look at the output for the A, B, C, and D. So you have B, all right, which is 2 in here. So what is actually going on when you have a pre-increment when B is going to come out? So it's going to come out as what? It's going to read in, basically, if you take a look at what's inside of B right now is 2. You agree? Inside of 2 that you will see that's coming across with this if is the first one's going to come out is so what basically is going to come across is if you look at the first one is if you plug in a 2 right here, all right, and what's happening in B increment in this thing is, and so this 2 is actually as a B, but your increment is going to be a what? It's going to change to a 3 before you actually come across and assign it to C. A, however, is a 1, and then you post increment it, it becomes a 2, so D is in 2. And then what was in C again? 3, right? And then you post increment it, it becomes a 4, and then you just output D right now. That's assigned to A, which A is a 1. So if I was going to output this right now, so the output of this particular statement, this will actually come out as what? A is equal to 2, and this one, B, is going to equal to what? I'm just going to copy this line here, and this is going to output what? B is going to equal to, you get your B, pre-increment that, okay, so what's your B is going to be? It's going to be 3, right? And then you have your outputting your C, which is what? Here's your C. So it went from a 2, but you pre-increment it becomes a 3. 3 is assigned to C. C down here is post-incremented, so your C is going to become a 4. And then lastly, you have is your A, B, C, D, and of course your D is what? Is a 1 assigned to D. Guess what? You output that's going to be a 1. All right. So that's my point when you actually look at the output from this thing. Again, all these are output if I really output what's inside these memories for now with it. Okay. So that's what I want you to understand is between the difference between the post post, and sorry, this is not working the way I want it to be. Difference between post and pre-increment. Okay. So that example is my explanation how to explain pre and post, but this is how I want you to also understand how the difference between an increment and a decrement are also the operation in the statement with it. So there is no difference between a pre and a post notation, is my point with it. So when you use an expression, pre notation indicates that the variable will be increment or decrement prior to the rest of the equations being evaluated. Post notation is indicated when the post and decrement after. Remember now, the key word is after, and the other one is prior. So before, pre, post is after. So let's take a look at one of the prefix.java program that's in your book. This is on page 277. Code listing 5-2. So let me bring this one up here. This is a really good example of what we're talking about right now with it. So you have your number is 4. Again, same thing. You output this thing. So in this case, this is the one that's actually coming across as the pre, and of course this is the one that kind of comes across as the both of them pre. Both comes before with this thing. Okay. Okay. So let me move on to the while loop. What you need to know about the while loop. So hold on, before I depart with this thing. In regards to